Okay, I think we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Cype webinar on a complete overview of Cype Plumbing version 2025. Hi again, everyone. My name is Paul from the International Department here at Cype Engineering Software, and joining me today is Martin from our Technical Experts Department. Hi, Martin. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Bob. Hello to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning.
Yes, and we have
Great to be here.
Yes, Martin, and it's a very special webinar that we have for today because it's talking about our new program for Cype Plumbing, okay? And maybe just a brief background before we go into like the program itself of our company, what do we do and the work that we have for those that are just joining us maybe for the very first time. I'd like to explain a bit more about what we do and what do we actually our work, right? So we are a technical engineering company. We have programs to design and analyze basically the entire life cycle of a building project, right? From the beginning, from the architecture, the structural analysis and design, the map analysis and design as well, and of course the project management. So we work with commonly used methods and plans for like all other engineers, like 2D drawings, CAD, but we also have the possibility to generate a digital model with just one click of a button with the BIMserver.center, our digital workflow option, which is our CDE Common Data Environment platform that we also offer for free. So this platform will give you the ability to enter a digital workflow with all the benefits that it entails, right? So I think maybe we can just talk about this very briefly during the presentation, but it's not the focus of our presentation today. Today we have come, everyone, for our plumbing solution. We're just going to be focusing on our MEP solutions and our new Cype Plumbing, which just to share to everyone is a new program that integrates our old tools, our two old tools from before, into just one in a new integrated solution called Cype Plumbing. I hope we can have time to just maybe discuss everything because there is so much things to talk about for today's webinar. And I think Martin, maybe you can give our audience a bit of like an idea what are we going to see for today's session.
Of course, what we have for today is basically an overview of this new program, which is called Cype Plumbing. It comes as the result of an integration of other two programs that we had. It was Cype Plumbing Water Systems and Cype Plumbing Sanitary Systems, and we add to we also add the features of another program that's been around for a while. It's OpenBIM Layout, our program by Cype too. So this is the aim of today's presentation. Of course, we are going to talk about the new tools that come with the integration of these programs. It will try to make it useful for the people that were users of the previous programs, but also useful for new users, right? We'll discuss a little bit of compatible workflows, designing, optimizing, analyzing water distribution and drainage systems. Of course, it's the purpose of the program, and the output that we may get of that program. Again, workflows, documentation that we may generate automatically by the program, by using the program. And that's a little bit of a summary of what we have for today.
Okay, Martin, sounds really good actually. And also, I'd just like to share, just stay tuned to everyone that is joining us live until the very end of our today's presentation for more details about the prizes that we have for today's event. Okay, so without maybe discussing further about that, maybe let's just let's have Martin to share our Cype Plumbing tool for today. Okay.
Of course, I'll just go ahead and show you a little bit of the program. I'm sharing my screen. As we said, the new Cype Plumbing, I'm watching at the website of the BIMserver.center, which is our common data environment by Cype. Okay, as we see, Cype Plumbing is the new program, the version 2025, and the previous versions were the programs Cype Plumbing Water Systems and Cype Plumbing Sanitary Systems. There's a small sign over there saying living soon. That means the program still exists, but they won't be updated because the update is this new program, right? about OpenBIM layout. It is another program that's still there as a single independent program, because it is also useful to integrate different BIM files and sources to generate layouts, right? But it is also integrated in CYPEPLUMBING in order to not need to go to another program to get drawings from the program. And so this is the website, Cype website, and the area that speaks about OpenBIM layout. What I will show you right now is the program itself and the new tools that come with the integration. So this is the look of the new CYPEPLUMBING program. As you will see, the people that were already users, it's really similar. The design is almost the same as the previous two systems, and how of the previous two programs, right? And how does the integration take place? Now they become tabs of one same program. We have the Water Systems tab and the Sanitary Systems tab. It is not only that we have the two programs into one, it is also that we have an improvement there. Not only we have improvements in the design, it is similar to the previous one, but it's a little bit more intuitive and better designed, right? But also we have the possibility to see the other system. If we are working in the water systems area, we may see the other side of the network, which would be the drainage network. What we see here is an example that comes with the program. I will explore a little bit in 3D. This geometry we see here, this building is an office building, right? We haven't modeled the building from within the program. What we did is to model the building from another modeler, an IFC builder. That's the name of the software we made to model the actual geometry of the building, the architectural model. This is IFC Builder by Cype. It's a free professional BIM modeler. And what we did is to save it and export it into BIMserver.center. And the flow is we read from CYPEPLUMBING the BIMserver.center architectural model that's already uploaded there, and we just download it and read it from the program. And what we get is the possibility to model over that as a reference. As I said, you have the possibility to see. I may deactivate the visualization of the architecture, and we are able to control the visibility of the other side of the system. Because as I'm saying, it is not only the possibility of working in both of the networks. The fact is that they're both related. When you set a supply point for water, it is a good idea probably that you set a drainage point, right? It's not like probably not an option. So now we have the control of seeing the other side of the system. And again, it's the other way around. You go to the Sanitary Systems tab and you have the possibility to, if we choose a 3D view, it's more visible, to activate and deactivate the water systems visibility. So this is an office example, a building office example. It's not as complex as, for example, a housing project, because they have more equipment. But it is a good example to start talking about this integration of the programs. What has been made here, but what we've done to create this example is to simply easily use the tools that come with the program to set the elements that are necessary to start the installation. As you see, the design of the toolbar makes it intuitive and easy to use. And then just randomly laying elements in order to show you that it's not rocket science. It's an easy way to work, and that's it. We just set the entry of the equipment, set the entry of the pipes by using the commands that are easily available to the user, right? And that is the way that we built this model. I'm going to a plan view to make a small exercise in order to explain the tools that come with this integration other than the visibility of the equipment. For example, a relevant new feature here is that when we set a new element, a water supply point, a consumption point, for example, this is a sink, I'll just put it randomly placed in somewhere in the building. What happens is that if we choose the same level, the program automatically creates the drainage point. And how do we control this issue? Because in Cype software, the user always has the possibility of controlling the whole thing. In this case, this new link that exists between the water consumption point and the drainage point is controlled by the user from this button here in the discharges tab in the toolbar. There's a button that's called discharges, a button that's called discharges. And from here, you control the links. As we see, it's now set in Spanish, but no problem. It's easily switchable to an English version, right? I let it that way because I also wanted to show how easy you may change the languages.
That's true, and you can see all the other options there that we have available. But I think for the purposes of this webinar, you can go ahead with it's with Spanish. But again, it's an option that we provide to the clients as well, of course.
Absolutely. It's not only introducing the element. If I choose to move it, the other side of the network, the other system, it will move too. And if I choose to erase it, which I'll do because it's not properly designed, I'm just randomly using commands here. You'll see that it's disappeared. More new features. What I'll do is to erase a consumption point. I'll erase this sink in order to set it again from scratch so that our viewers will see how easily I may define a new consumption point and the tools that come associated with this and new features too. I'll just eliminate it. In this case, it hasn't been eliminated automatically because it's connected to the network, right? Program helps us. And let's see. As we see, the pipes have been split. We have commands here, the joint pipes, divide pipes, that allows us to not be dealing with separate pipes and split and divided points and so on. We just have the possibility to get that together again. If we want to introduce a new pipe, there's a cold water pipe, for example, we'll see that the points where the connection took place before the elimination are still there. We have tools to deal with that too. In this case, I'm using the command delete points. I'll just click on them and they disappear. I will set the equipment back in its place, for example. And what I'll do is to just connect this back again. I'll put back the system together. New feature we have here. We have the possibility of defining a simplified entry for the pipes. By clicking in the general options menu, calculation options, we have the possibility to set a simplified entry according to the parameters and the criteria that we may set here. And instead of having to choose the whole thing each time we need to introduce a pipe, we may have defined previously the parameters we need to take place, right? In this case, I only choose cold water or hot water. This is an option that's now available from the toolbar. I'll leave it as it was. So I'll introduce a cold water pipe to connect this equipment and this consumption point. So what I'll do here is to deactivate the forced elevation. I'll work in a 3D mode because I want the mouse to snap the pipe. As you see, the Z parameter is in 2.80 meters, and that's what I want. By clicking there and by using the orthogonality, I may easily connect the pipes with the sink in this case. And as we see, we are always dealing with the right elevation values, right? There's
Okay,
another new,
that is
yes,
really good to hear. So far we have looked at so many features, just like from the start, like the activation of the visibility, the links between consumption points, the adding and eliminating the points as well. And now we're seeing the simplified entry of pipes. Are there other maybe tools that you can share regarding, aside from the features for the program and the pipes itself, regarding the menus, now that you have established maybe this as well? Or would there be like
absolutely,
changes regarding that as well? I
yes.
think so, right?
I'll quickly skip to that part. The last thing that we have to show about the new features is the entry of vertical pipes right here. Now we have the possibility of get that easily done in a more controlled way because we do it locally, not having to do it in the whole project at the same time. And the last relevant feature, we can't skip that part about the new features, is this new naming for the 3D mode. Before this new version, we had like the 3D mode work area and the 2D mode, and now it has changed to a force elevation parameter. We have this check here, and if we choose to work in the forced elevation, what we do is to work in the elevation parameter that comes with, for example, that we define. In this case, it's the ground floor, which is a fixed elevation parameter. And when I move the mouse around, you see that the value doesn't change. It's always 0. And by using that, we may work in a controlled way in the elevation values too. And as you see, I'm just creating putting back together the systems in an easy, intuitive way and a controlled and precise way. And again, I'm using the vertical pipes feature. And as we see, it is connected back again. So let's see what happens when we create a new file. I think this is relevant. I go ahead and start from the Cype menu. This is the new Cype menu version 2025, and I'll access the program from here. And open a new file. First of all, what we see is we have the possibility to link this new file to a BIMserver.center project or to create a new one. In this case, I'll do that later. I uncheck that box. And the first thing we see is that when we start a new file, the program gives us the possibility to choose a country. So the configuration will be according to the coding existing in that country. We have different like Spain, France, Italy, you name it, United Kingdom, European Union, which is the one that you will use in this example. And there's a renewed appearance to the catalogs area, right? This is not only here in this opening menu, but also it's the same from within the program. We have like a new design to this catalog area. As you know, we collaborate with many manufacturers that so we may provide in our designs solution that exists in the market, right? And if we don't want to choose anything, if I want to choose, for example, European Union, I'll just hit accept and that's it. But if I don't choose anything, I'll just have to set the whole thing from scratch. That's or just carefully look at the general options menu, right? In general, what happens to the program is that in the water systems and in the sanitary systems, we have a more uniform design. And in the water system area, we have like we have the new icons in order to enter the fittings directly from the toolbar and those sort of design improvements. If we access the general options menu, again, we may go and choose the code and the country that we wish. In this case, we'll use a European coding. And we are able to set the general options, the whole configuration criteria for our project. We have analysis and run options, material and equipment, and design and tech options to be carried out. What is new to the menus in this version? Now we have an improvement because now we have the possibility, as we already had, of altering this whatever way we wish, simplified entry of pipes, changing maybe the units, changing the design checks criteria, editing whatever parameters we want to set for our projects, right? And we may have chosen an initial coding maybe from the European Union, but have modified that and want to save that for the future. Now we can, by just choosing a name and hitting accept, we have the possibility to export these initial settings.
So in this case, what you're doing right now, right? So you are customizing your own parameters. For example, like you chose a different like unit of measurement, you chose a different like size of the pipe. Now I want to save this custom settings, options, right? And use it for maybe another project in the future as a reference. So essentially it's saving the time that you would just individually putting it all over again. Because sometimes I think we're joined with like engineers from different countries, and they may have projects as an engineer in this country and in that country. So it can just like maybe make it more, I would say, efficient and faster to just not start from scratch, just get from a template and begin, right? Is that
That's
the
it.
case?
That's the case because many of our clients and of our users are maybe specialized in this sort of projects or that sort of projects, maybe warehouse, maybe offices, maybe housing, and they may already have their preferences for its sort of project. That may be slight modification of this defined recommendation by the coding, right? They may have their own preferences. So these preferences they can save and they may use again and again in different projects and saving a lot of time, right? Another new changes in the general options menu is that in the sanitary systems we have a more a design that is more similar than what we already had in the water systems general options menu. That it is that now there's a consistency, there's the same order in the area of materials and equipment and in the area of design and checks, so that the order of the checks will be consistent with the material that will take place when performing those checks. It's more intuitive and more tidy, and more it's more easy to use and to see. Yeah. That's another improvement in the general options menu.
Okay, so I think now we're all set, right, to start a project. You've set your parameters for both water systems and the sanitary systems. Now it begins. Now the program is ready to be, you're now ready to start using the program itself, like starting to draw and later analyze. So how do I go about like starting my own project? Can I start from scratch, or do I like maybe have this and a model imported somewhere that I can just put into the program itself?
You have different options. The ones you've mentioned are good. You may start from scratch, simply modeling. We have the tools to do so in a precise way, as you've seen. You may start from scratch. The most usual start is maybe using a template, using importing plans, maybe DWGs, DXFs, or maybe PDFs or image files to use as a reference in 2D. That's an option. We have the possibility to import plans from here, these commands, and then just choose whichever DWG we want to choose. That's an option. We may start from scratch, as we say, and we have the possibility to getting linked to a project in BIMserver.center. This is a BIM workflow, right? So the example I'll use right now is, for example, a model starting from Cype architecture. This is what you're seeing now on screen. This is not Cype plumbing. This is our BIM modeler from Cype architecture. It's free, it's professional, and it's easy to use. And what we have is an architectural model here, modeler that is able to build usable professional BIM models, right? And we'll link this model to BIMserver.center. We upload the information, and now we have an architectural model for us to use in the different systems, in the maybe the structural analysis, in Cype plumbing for our purposes today, HVAC, and so on. And we don't have to be modeling again and again, or just using the plans again and again. By exporting the information to BIMserver.center, in the case of Cype architecture, we may also export the points of consumption, for example, the sink, the washing machine, whatever. And that's what we'll do right now. I'll just go to Cype plumbing through our software. Go ahead and choose to connect to a BIMserver.center project in the bottom update in the right upper area of the screen. I'll select a project, already created one. Cype architecture, Cype plumbing, that's the name of my project here. And what I'll do is to choose to download the architectural model, the design of that single family house that we already modeled previously. In a few seconds, in a few minutes, the program will import and gives us access to an assistant so that we may set the different names of our equipment in the model to the different kinds of possible points we have. For example, the bath, we may, as we already defined the names within the architectural model, it will be easy today. This is so that the program will know what to do with each point and what sort of equipment model from within Cype plumbing by reading the information coming from Cype architecture. And now we don't have to be introducing manually each sink if we already done that in our design. And what we see now is this is the model that has been imported. And if I go to a plan view, it will be more visible. Now we have the equipment already being introduced automatically by the program. And now we may act over these and then just connect these with pipes and just keep modeling from there, not from scratch, by using the information already existing in our project.
So yeah, right. That's it. You have imported the model, and now it's ready to be used for the site plumbing purposes. In this case, like to introduce your supply water systems and your drains as well for your sanitary systems. Now, the next thing I would like to maybe point out to our users is now this is also an analytical tool. It's not just a drafting tool. As an engineer, you would need maybe certain models, certain analysis to be able to use to make the most, I would say, out of the program. So now, as an engineer, what can I expect the program to provide me now that this model is in here from the Cype architecture, and now you've modeled it, you've imported it into our Cype plumbing program. What can I expect? I'd say.
This is an excellent question, and in order to answer to that, I'll use a more complex example with a housing example that has more equipment and so. As you know, Cype software always come with an automated generation of reports, an automated generation of DWDs, plans, plan views, and so what we do is not only modeling, because we do so, we model in a precise way, but we also provide a calculation software, because this is calculation, and the automated generation of actual deliverable documentation. This hasn't changed, and it is still this way in this new version, Cype Plumbing 2025. By accessing the area reports, we have access to all sort of reports regarding the quantities, the checks that the program has performed over the equipment, the distribution network, and so on. Yeah. We have access to, yes.
Sorry, I would like just to point out also these checks are checked against what you have introduced in the very beginning as well. So so it really provides an accurate description of the equations with a transparent step-by-step. How did we get to this answer as well? And if you don't really go and maybe trust the software in itself, you can go ahead and maybe compute it. And I think you will still arrive at the same conclusion and the same answer in the end, I think. But this is just automating it right now for you. And this has been available in the past versions with even the two program split. And it's still a main feature and always the main feature across all Cype programs as well. Right, Martin?
Yes, if you take the calculation options, the program itself will explain how the calculations are taking place. And as you say, you may check yourself. You may configure the whole thing. And when you get the reports and the output, it is done according to that initial settings. Of course, we have the possibility of generating the plans, DWGs, PDFs, DXFs, and so on. By just hitting accept here, we have the automated generation of the plans of the whole modeling we've been performing. But there's news here about the diagrams tab. In the water systems area of the program, we have the new diagrams tab.
More
Before
new
this
stuff,
version,
Martin. No, that's
yeah,
very good to hear. More new stuff. Wow.
we have
Okay.
improvements here. We have before this version, you needed to access another program, right? This is an example from the diagrams tab. It had been made manually by using these tools in the toolbar, right? And easily just defining the different elements that may take place in the installation, right? By simply going ahead and defining the elements. And we, of course, have another tool that's meant to generate automatically an initial version of the diagram and start editing instead of starting from scratch by just hitting update results and then hitting new. We have generated here like two parts of the diagram. One is like the supply point and the meters, and the other one is like more the consumption area. And that those are generated automatically. And now you are able to edit, for example, the size of the paper, and then just use these tools over the automatically generated diagram in order to modify it as you wish and start editing and modifying from there. You don't have to start from scratch, or you may start from scratch too. And this is not new. The sanitary systems diagrams area, but we'd like from the technical department to show it because many users are not using it yet, but it's there. We have the possibility to automatically generate the diagrams, and I'll show you a little bit of how to do so. We simply have generated this by combining the automated generation, the tools that we have, and then the manual addition. We'll just create a new diagram in order to use this automation. We hit update results so that the program will read the model, and hit the new button over there and start a new diagram sheet. This is easy to use. We have like possibilities to choose the different sort of lines and the representation of the different elements. What we'll do here is to only choose to leave behind the rainwater and only choose the equipment that the supply points that we introduce, and the drainage system only will be corresponding to the supply points we add, not the rainwater, because it'd be a really complex. It wouldn't be so visual for this presentation. And what we have here is the possibility to set the different symbols and the size. I'll quickly choose a few of the symbols available, and this is all customizable. You may personalize the whole. I leave many without defining to be faster in this presentation. And so we may show what happens when we define it and what happens when we don't. That's it. The program automatically generates this diagram. When we set the definition of the element, it comes automatically defined as a drawing. If we don't do that definition, we may do it later. It's not a problem at all. We may choose whatever sort of symbol, the size, and now it's generated there. And by combining the tools that we have in the toolbar up here with the automatically generated diagram, we may easily get to a sort of a plan, a layout like this one. And as a last explanation of the possibilities to get output from the program layouts, in this case, we've mentioned reports, we mentioned the plans, the DWGs, the XFs, PDFs, calculations, and so on. We have, as we said in the beginning, integrated into the program the features of the OpenBIM layout program, which is meant to read the 3D model, read IFCs, read the modeling, and we may interact with the 3D model. This is not a static view. We may actually serve and get information from the actual model, and then get layouts, we may print them into paper or into PDF or whatever format. And that's one of the relevant features. And of course, we may use these tools in order to get automatically configured tabs. For example, if I decided to modify the thickness of this pipe we are seeing on screen, this parameter would modify automatically. We wouldn't have to be changing the whole bunch of tabs to get the information of the whole installation. Of course, if we choose to dimension the elements, the dimensioning tool, the measuring tool reads the model. It's not like reading the paper, it's reading the actual 3D model we've been working at. So it's a really powerful tool to get more plans, and that's the basic, just the necessary, and it's a really powerful tool.
Still, again, highly customizable from what you're presenting right now as well, right? So it really depends on the engineer and their preference. And of course, I'd like to also remind that to all our users, this also includes the BOQ reports as well as exportable formats to PDF, to Word, so that you can actually take those drawings and these reports into actual reports that you can also documents that you can use in your professional work that could be presented as well, as good as like any other professional report in this case would be, right?
We have a whole area specifically for the bill of quantities, the measurement and the pricing of the whole project. This isn't new, it's still there and it's always improving and so on. And the program reads the model and gives us the possibility to automatically measure it, to assign to each of the elements, to this pipe, to this equipment, to this consumption point, a specific information regarding the price, the definition, the description, more documentation, right? And automatically generate reports, as you said, bills of quantities, specifications. If we add the information about the environmental impact of the different materials used, you may automate the generation of that documents. This isn't new. You have the mapping of the model that you've made. You have that tool, and you have the possibility to introduce and save cost databases that will be of use in order to link the databases of the prices, the descriptions, and so on to the model.
Okay, that is very good too. Yeah, more tools, more improvements is like, I think, the main theme of our webinar today for Cype Plumbing, essentially. So it's always getting the best things, the best aspects of the old programs, and still implementing it and making sure that it's still relevant and still very much a main feature in our new Cype Plumbing tool. But now I think it brings me to my next question. Now that we've seen the exportable outputs that I can expect as the engineer, right? So what if, for example, some people already have purchased the old programs from before, like the Cype Plumbing Water Systems and the Sanitary systems, both different programs from before? How can I benefit now with this new program? Is it can I still make maybe an import like what you did with the model from previously? Or is there a workaround on how I can maybe still use the new program in itself, because there are new improvements and I want to use it? So how can I do that if someone like me that has purchased before, right?
I was expecting some sort of question like that, because it has been massively asked by our users, as you say, by previous users, the ones that already had the Cype Plumbing Water System, for example, the 2024 version. And the main concern is, will I be able to still use the models that I've made, or the works that I've made with the previous versions? The answer is yes. Because this question comes because it is a new program. It's not like an update of Cype Plumbing Water Systems then 2025. It's like as we created a new program, many users had the concern of, okay, but it's a new program. I had another program, an old one. Will I be able to use the information generated by the previous one? Yes, you will. I'll explain you quickly how to do so. We'll create a new project from scratch. In this case, we are interested in linking our new file with an existing project. because in order to import the files from older versions, we are interested in getting not only the file, but also the BIMserver.center project. You'll see why. I'll select a project. I have one prepared to this 24 to 25 version workflow, right? What we need to do is to get from BIMserver.center, if we have it available, the architectural model, the geometry of the building, and not the drainage network or the water supplying network, not the pipes, but the design of the building, right? And that's what I'll choose there, hitting accept. Again, when you open a new file, and the program gives you the possibility to choose coding, we'll choose whichever coding. In this case, I'll choose this one, for example. I say we may choose whichever code or maybe none, because what we're interested is into getting what we set in the old file, right? So in this case, we are only interested in the architectural model. Why? Because we don't want to lose the levels, the stories, the floors, right? So each element, when we import it to CYPEPLUMBING 2025, we'll have the information of the level, the corresponding level, right? We have a new tools here, the import and the export commands over there. I'll hit the import one, and this is simply file management. What I'll get is a file, in this case, for example, from CYPEPLUMBING Water Systems, an old version file. And in this case, I'm interested in deleting the information from the existing file. We are meaning deleting the information of this current file of the version 2025 we're working at, because we want to bring the information of the 24 version, the old file. And that's why I said you may choose whatever code, because what we want is to bring what we already set in the old file, right? And when we do so, hit accept. We see nothing now because it's hidden behind the architectural model. If I hide it, I see that I imported the whole project, the whole design that came from an old version. That's the way that we would do this. But these buttons, yes.
So it's like it's still an option, right? This is like for people that have been using the two versions or the two separate programs for so long, and now they can still benefit from this. From what you're seeing, it's easy enough that I can follow, right? And I think it would be also beneficial for those who are just exploring our programs and maybe trying out their versions of the previous versions of what the CYPEPLUMBING Water Systems and CYPEPLUMBING Sanitary Systems, so they can just play around with this in the new CYPEPLUMBING for version 2025 as well, right? So I think now with your presenting this old version, or the opening the old version files rather, now is it safe to assume that I can also maybe import or add more projects to this current existing one and maybe share it with another person? And like, I've heard this is a new feature in the new CYPEPLUMBING 2025 as well, right?
We have this really relevant, massively asked, massively expected new feature, that is the possibility not only of reading all version files, but the possibility of importing other files into the current file, right? This is a big improvement. It is new to the Cype environment, and it has started in CYPEPLUMBING. I'll show you with a simple example what we are talking about, right? Let's open a file that I have already previously prepared for this purpose. I won't save the changes, right? Now we have the possibility of combining our efforts, combining the different works, the different projects. Maybe you may design one part of the building and I design another one. Maybe I'll do the first 2 or 3 stories and you do the last ones. Or maybe we have like a project that is 3 blocks or 2 blocks. So I'll do one and you do the other 2. And the way that we may access that powerful feature is by using those new commands over there, the import and the export, right? So what we have here is like one project, maybe one block of a project of 2 or 3 blocks, right? And maybe you have worked collaboratively in a collaborative way, right? And you've made another part of the project. If you give me your files, I'm able to import them into this one and have them as native elements of my project, and I will be able to deal with them as and edit them as if they were made by myself, like a new really productive tool. I'll just hit import, choose the file that I want to add to this one. In this case, I'm not interested in deleting the information because I want to put more information to my file, but without losing my work. And now we have this tool. We have the possibility to be adding the different files and the different models made by different people, or maybe by myself, but in another stage of the project. Now we can combine files and have this more easy and productive way to collaborate with our other users, right?
Right. And so just to recap, right? So it's essentially getting the file from someone else. It could be you, it could be myself working in a different file and just adding it or importing it into one single project. So in this case, I think it really makes a difference in, so you don't want to just maybe work on one particular floor. You have a whole team using the program. You can just maybe ask, as what you said, make this person work on this floor, these 2 floors, and have them gather all together, one single project engineer, like the manager, the project head for this for example, and just continue with more work. It just provides more collaboration essentially for our users, right? So I
On
think
screen, I was performing like random modifications to the newly imported elements, so that you see that I can eliminate, copy, paste, model over those files freely, as if the same way I may operate over my original file, right?
So yes, I think with this, I think we have a very exhaustive look at the new features of the new Cype Plumbing for 2025. Is there anything more that you want to add for the new features, or maybe we can move on and maybe discuss something else regarding Cype and our programs?
We may explain the workflow, right? We'd go into the
Yeah,
BIMserver.center environment.
That's true. So like as a recap, we have been discussing like a BIM workflow from our projects in the progress that we're seeing right now. It is an option, as I said in the very beginning of this webinar, that you as an engineer have the option, a complementary BIM workflow alongside with the classical workflows that we also implement, and also you have seen and has been explained by Martin. So this is completely optional, and it's also very free from our platform that we're seeing right now, which is the BIMserver.center store. So maybe Martin, can you explain a bit what are we seeing, and what is the function of the BIMserver.center?
We are in the BIMserver.center platform. Inside my user, we are connected by using my user, right? And the BIMserver.center platform works as a common data environment. It is the place where we upload and download the information to generate a BIM workflow. So I may use the information generated by one program from within another program, right? It is free. It has unlimited storage space. This is amazing, right? It's unusual. It's unusual. We say it easily, but you can find that in many places. And for example, you see here the projects that I've been using in this presentation, right? The version 24 to version 25 Cype Plumbing example, right? We have the Cype architecture Cype Plumbing workflow. This is the place where they are stored. The architectural models, for example, or if I choose to export from Cype Plumbing, they will come up here, and other users will be able to check my work, and I'm also able to display it in a 3D environment without the other users having to have any license. This is just the web browser, and it's simply
And I think
as easy as that.
Yeah, I think you've said also the main advantage of using this platform, aside from being free, it's a collaborative approach to working in projects at the moment. I think and it's also completely optional, as I've been saying all this time, right? And now you are seeing like a sort of social media feed where people can opt to share the projects that they have been working on with the other tools that we have at Cype. So I
Yes, if you
think
choose your projects to be visible, they will be available to see in this sort of social media environment, this design. That's an option. You may choose to make your projects visible to the whole community or not. I
yes,
haven't in this case for this presentation. In this case, they were private, right?
and you can even make an account right now and maybe enjoy working in this workflow, and maybe start exploring a bit by bit of what we have to offer in the BIMserver.center store. So what you're seeing
It
right now
gives
as well, it
access
gives you
to
the
our
option to do
mobile
that.
zone, yes, virtual reality, this environment to share your work and present it to your colleagues, your clients, your collaborators easily and in a fast way, right?
But I think also what would interest our users and our viewers, rather, right now is to maybe see in our BIMserver.center store if they want to try for themselves the program that you just showed all throughout this webinar, which is our Cype plumbing. They can do so. Okay, you can download our Cype plumbing program via the Cype menu that Martin is highlighting here in the website. The Cype menu is the menu, again, that houses all things that is related to Cype. And you can try the program Cype Plumbing for free for 10 non-consecutive days by just simply downloading it and choosing the evaluation version. Again, downloading and choosing the evaluation version, you get a 10-day non-consecutive look into the programs, even if it's just Cype Plumbing or also other programs as well. You can do that by simply clicking on the three buttons, the three dot button, there you go, and installing, and whenever prompted, choose the evaluation version, right? So of course, it's just 10 days. If I may, Martin, maybe we have users that are also interested in their own professional licenses. So you may also get the professional perpetual license from us by simply contacting us at the emails that you see down below on your screens, rather. So the program that we have seen today, as a recap, is Cype Plumbing. Okay, Cype Plumbing. I think with this we are finished. I think, Martin, for today. So I think we have a very great look at the new features for Cype Plumbing 2025, and I think I'd like to thank the audience as well for being with us here today, and hope you learned and you get to try our software that we have presented for today. So I think with this we have to say goodbye for now, and maybe we'll see you in our next webinar. Okay, so again, bye bye to everyone, and hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye to you,
Thank you,
Martin, as
Paul.
well.
Thanks to all our viewers. It's been great to be here.
Yes,
See
it
you
was a
next
pleasure having you, Martin. Thank you so much, and goodbye, and see you next time, everyone. Bye bye.